Hi everyone, welcome to Impact Academy. So today let us continue with the economy model paper 2. Okay. So last session we have seen till this question, right? So let us continue with this next question. So 19th question. So according to the 24-25 budget, how much has been allocated for the total welfare sector in the state? Okay. So for this again we have to go to the AP budget. Okay. So in the AP budget we have seen different allocations to the particular sector. Okay. So these are the allocations to the particular sector. So agriculture, rural development, irrigation, energy, all these things are very important. So it has been divided into economic services, social services, and general services. So general services includes all the services. So it is the highest, right? 96,000. Okay, 96,000 crore. This is in crores, 96,000 crores. And again, we have seen some of the highest. We have seen welfare schemes, 44,668. Okay, so 44,000 crores is the highest expenditure they have spent on welfare. And we have seen medical also 70,000. Okay, and general education also 33,000. This Nadu Nedu scheme and all these things we have seen, right? So 33,000 general education and transport 10,000 and rural development 17,000, irrigation 12,000, agriculture 14,000. Try to remember some of these things. Okay, we already seen in the first paper the question was asked on education. Okay, 33,000 crore. Now is asking the question on welfare. Okay, 44,000 crore. So such questions will be asked. So you have to remember those questions. Okay. So according to the budget, 24-25, how much has been allocated for the total welfare sector in the state? Okay, in Andhra Pradesh, 44,000 crores, 44,668. That is what it is there, right? 44,668 crores. Fine. So in the first 5-year plan, the topmost priority was given to. So if you look at the 5-year plans, okay. So if you look at the first 5-year plan, it was launched in 1951 to 56 when Planning Commission was formed in 1950. Okay, after the independence. So it was based on Harald Domer model and all that we have seen, right? So its main focus was on the agriculture development of the country. Okay. So its main focus was on agriculture development, and the plan was successful. The target was 2.1, it reached 3.6%, and also at the end of this plan, 5 IITs were set up. Okay, set up. So if you observe carefully, in the first 5-year plan, the focus was on agriculture development, but at the same time, if you read any standard textbooks, you will see that because there is lack of money, we don't have much funds at the time, so we chose one agriculture development. But otherwise, they wanted to develop industry, agriculture, and all these things. For example, so agriculture, irrigation, power. Okay, so everything they wanted to develop, but he's asking the topmost priority was given to. Okay, so the topmost priority was given to agriculture. Main focus was on agriculture. The first 5-year plan. Okay, in the second 5-year plan, because they wanted to develop industry also, they it was based on the Mahalanobis plan, PC Mahalanobis plan, and it has shown main focus on industrial development. Okay, and that target was 4.5 and it achieved only 4.27. So it could not achieve because agriculture was neglected. Okay, so the third 5-year plan they have it's also called as Gadgi Yojana. Okay, and it was to make the economy independent, but it had its own share of problems. Okay, the China India war and the Indo Pakistan war, 1962 and 1965 respectively. So in the first 5-year plan, topmost priority was given to agriculture. So even they wanted to develop everything. Okay. So all of the above, maybe they wanted to develop everything, but here he is clearly asking topmost priority was given to. So priority was given to everything, but topmost priority was given to agriculture. Okay. So let us put a option one is the answer. So whenever we have uh, so topmost priority was given to agriculture. Okay. So whenever there is this, I will post these comments. So if you are reading the PDF, try to go through the okay comment also. Okay. So your basic option one is the answer. Topmost priority was given to agriculture. So keep that in mind. In the first uh, in the first 5 year plan, topmost priority was given to agriculture. Then in the second one, it was given to industry. Okay. So try to remember that those things. So the Indian Council for Agricultural Research was established in the year. It was established in 1929. Okay, it's not 1959. 1929 is not there in the option, but it was established in 1929. So let us look at what is ICR. Okay, okay. So ICR is also very important body. It is Indian Council for Agricultural Research. Okay, so it is registered under the Societies Registration Act of 1860. That is long before independence. Under this act, it was registered, but that is not very important. Okay, and it has celebrated the 93rd Foundation Day. All this is fine. You can't remember also. And Shri Tomar addressed the virtual celebrations. All this is fine. And try to remember this if you can. That a digital platform, Kisan Saradi app, was launched by the Minister of Agriculture. So ICAR is Indian Council for Agriculture, right? And also there is an app which was what is this? Kisan Saradi app was launched by Ministry of Agriculture. Anyway, if you look at ICR, it is an autonomous organization under the Department of Agriculture, Research and Education. Okay, so it mainly deals with agricultural research. Okay, so different types of rice. Okay, how to improve the quality of rice, how to make it pest resistant, all these things. Okay, and it was established in 16 July 1929. So it is not 1959, it is 1929, even before the independence. So try to remember that. It was formerly known as the Imperial Council of Agricultural Research. Okay, headquarters Delhi, and all these things, general things you can go through. Okay, and it has a Vision 2050 also to provide strategic framework for innovation-led, inclusive, sustainable agricultural growth in the country. So by 2050, they are trying to bring in sustainable innovation, okay, agricultural growth in the country. So these initiatives are also very important. Okay, so they have a farmers innovation fund. Okay, so that you can scientifically validate, scale up, propagate the innovations of farmers, etc., etc. Nano fertilizers and nano pesticides, technology in agriculture, trying to boost technology, and there are almost 105 startups and farmers are encouraging the use of technology. Farmer Science Congress, okay, to come together and share their values and everything. I mean, whatever new innovations they have. And the theme of the Indian Science Congress in 2020 was science and technology rural development. Okay, because it is 2020, they may not ask now, but if there is any latest these themes, such themes are also asked in the exam frequently. So if you can remember some five or six, it's a good thing. So organic farming, again, it has validated 51 integrated farming systems to help increase farm income and has developed 45 different organic farming models suitable for different agroclimatic regions. Okay, it, and there is also this program called ARIA, that is attracting and retaining youth in agriculture. So today more and more youth are, okay. So the Indian Council for Agricultural Research was established in the year 1929. Okay, it is not there in the option, but it was established in 1929, not 59. There is a mistake here. So Food for Work program was linked to NREP under which 5 year plan? Okay, so Food for Work program was linked to NREP. So we cannot remember all these small details, but just remember roughly. Okay, we have seen fifth one, right? Garibi Hatao, and third one we've seen Gadgi Yojana. So remember those important points in one that particular. And fifth one is Garibi Hatao, and the 20-point program and all those things. And sixth one, we remember like for the first time it had crossed the target, right? Till then, uh, the third, fourth, fifth plan, due to one or the other reason, the target was not achieved. Okay, in the sixth one, the target was achieved. Also remember that in the sixth plan, Food for Work program was linked to the NREP. Okay, just try to remember that. No need to go into too much depth into the planning commission and all that, because today planning commission is not even there. So when did Dr. Manmohan Singh call for a second green revolution? So let us also look at what is green revolution. So green revolution is also very important. So first, if you look at what is green revolution, uh, the main feature of the Green Revolution was introducing high yield variety seeds in Indian agriculture. Okay, so after independence, there was a crisis, for food grains in India at that time. MS Swaminathan. Okay, so MS Swaminathan is considered as the father of Green Revolution in India. Okay, so he advocated for an effective PDS system to ensure that food grains reach poor consumers in order to end hunger. And also, let us look from here. Okay, so this is mustard. So, Green Revolution, which began in the mid 1960s, was a transformative period in the Indian agriculture characterized by the adoption of high yielding crop varieties and the use of modern agriculture practices. So, what is Green Revolution? You have to remember these two things. One thing is to adopt the high yielding crop varieties. That means, see, the kind of rice varieties, wheat varieties, and all these things which we have now, back then they were not there. Okay, the production was very low, and the crop was also frequently affected, and the population was growing, so there was I mean, people were not having sufficient food. Okay, it was not like today. So they came up with the green revolution. One is the adoption of high yielding crop varieties, and the other was using modern agricultural practices. Okay, so MS Swaminathan was instrumental in the pivotal role in the green revolution during the 1960s and 70s. So he developed the high yield varieties. He invited Dr. Norman Borlaug. Okay, Norman Borlaug is considered to be the father of green revolution in general. Okay, in the whole world. In India, within India, Dr. MS Swaminathan is considered to be the what is the father of green revolution in India. Try to remember that. Okay. So by the time Dr. Norman Borlaug had developed this Mexican dwarf wheat variety, okay, which was high yielding and pest resistant. Okay, so Dr. MS Swaminathan invited Dr. Norman Borlaug to India and see administering and collaborating for farmer adoption of high yield variety seeds. Okay, so especially in northern India in the 1965, so it was demonstrated to several small scale farmers and everything, and they started adopting this high yield variety of wheat and rice. Okay, so as a result of the introduction of these new high yield varieties of wheat, so India's wheat production increased from 12 million tons to 23 million tons. So try to remember these things. So MS Swaminathan advocated for effective PDS system also. So you are producing this wheat, but after the production, it has to reach the poor also. Okay, so India went from being drought stricken and reliant on US imports in the 1960s to being declared food self-sufficient in 1971. So in the 1960s and all, there was not enough food for everyone, and we depended a lot on the these imports from US. Okay, so there was food scarcity, there was no food security, and by 1970s we became self-sufficient in food production because of this high yielding varieties and modern agriculture practice, basically because of the green revolution. So in 1987 he was awarded the World Food Prize. Okay, MS Swaminathan, and he established the MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, National Commission on Farmers. Okay, as the chairman of the commission, MS Swaminathan issued 5 reports recommending minimum crop support prices, faster and more inclusive growth, comprehensive national policy to address farmer suicides, and he also played instrument role in developing the Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act of 2001. So this is also important act. Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights 2001. Okay. So MS Swaminathan also played a very important role. And if you look at this, the high to introduce high yielding varieties in Indian agriculture, and they were highly effective in regions that had rich irrigation facilities. That is mostly in the Punjab region. Okay, because it has Punjab means 5 rivers, right? Where there is lot of irrigation facilities, wheat and rice have become very successful. Okay, so green revolution at first focused on states with better infrastructure, such as Tamil Nadu and Punjab. During the second phase, high yielding varieties were given to other states also, and crops other than wheat were also included in the plan. So in the first phase of the green revolution, only wheat. Okay, remember this wheat high yielding varieties of that Mexican dwarf wheat and all these varieties of wheat were used. In the second phase, other crops were also added. The most important requirement for the high yielding variety seeds is proper irrigation. Okay, and commercial crops and cash crops such as cotton, jute, oil seeds, etc., were not a part of the plan. So remember this point very carefully, because if they ask you what are the part of the which crops have been focused as part of the green revolution. Okay, cotton, jute, oil seeds, etc. are not there. So in the options, if they mix these cotton, jute, oil seeds, then you'll have to remove it. Okay, so what was there? Emphasis was mainly on food grains such as wheat and rice. Try to remember this, and also enhancing farm productivity, increase availability and use of fertilizers, weedicides, pesticides. Okay, so basically, what is green revolution? High yielding variety seeds, modern farm equipment, and increased what you say productivity using fertilizers, pesticides, and everything. Okay, it also helps in promoting commercial farming in the country. But at the same time, MS Swaminathan himself has agreed that because of the green revolution, what happened was monocropping has happened. Okay, most farmers have started developing only wheat and rice. So because of that, today uh, there has been reduction in pulses and all those things. And especially if you look at the edible oils, see we are importing so much edible oil, right? In spite of being an agricultural based country, we are importing so much of palm oil. Okay, and more than 80 to 90% of the edible oils are being imported. Okay, so later MS Swaminathan himself has accepted that it has caused problems of monocropping and too much emphasis on rice, wheat, and etc. Okay, so then Dr. Manmohan Singh called for a second green revolution in 2006. Okay, so this time to focus on all kinds of crops. Okay, next the scheme agri clinics was introduced in the budget of 2001 2002. So again, as I said, uh, anything related to old budgets and economic survey, no need to go into too much depth. Maybe if it is something very landmark or anything, okay, anything which had a huge impact, then it is fine. But otherwise, no need to go into too much depth. Just try to remember agri clinics 2001 2. Okay. So industrial policy. So industry is classified into three types based on which industrial policy. So these are some of the standard policies. Okay. So let us quickly look at some of the important industrial policies. Okay. So basically, the evaluation of industrial policy. We have had several industrial policies, and of that, so if you look at the industrial policies, okay. So the first industrial policy was 1948. So try to remember the dates also, okay, because they may ask me the following kind of questions or arrange in a sequence. Okay, you never know. Anything is possible. So first is Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948. It declared the Indian economy as a mixed economy. So after the independence, our Indian economy was a mixed economy. That means there will be both a free market and government regulation also. Okay, so if it is a as you know complete closed economy, open economy. Okay, if it's a complete closed economy, then mostly you see in kind of where there is communist rule. Okay, somewhere in China or Korea, etc. You see that there is complete government control. Okay, in other countries like USA, etc., and most of these Western countries, you are including in you have this capitalistic or free economy, open economy, free economy, etc. Where completely it is free. The market factors will decide the production price and everything. In case of India, you have a mixed economy. That means the government will be involved. Okay, there will be several restrictions. We have Competition Commission of India. Okay, to avoid any kind of competition. So it is not complete free to market, but at the same time it is free to the market. Okay, yeah, anyone can come start doing a business. Okay, set a price range, etc. So it's a mixed economy. So small scale and cottage industries were given importance. This we are talking about, see, after independence. Okay, so we did not have any huge big companies or anything. Okay, only one or two steel plants here and there. Okay, Jamshedji Tata Steel Plant, one or two like that. Okay, we don't have much industries. So small scale and cottage industries were given importance. The government restricted foreign investments. Okay, so remember this foreign investments, the kind of FDI we have 100%, 51%. Back then we didn't have. It was completely restricted to foreign investment. Industries were divided into four categories. Okay, exclusive monopoly of central government, arms and ammunition, production of atomic energy, and management of railways. This is exclusive monopoly of central government. Okay. Next, new undertaken only by state. coal, iron and steel, aircraft manufacturing, shipbuilding, telegraph, etc. These are only undertaking by state. Industries to be regulated by the government. Industries of basic importance. Okay, they will be regulated by the government and open to private enterprise, individuals and cooperatives. So even though it was open to private players, it was very less. Okay, so this is the industrial policy resolution of 1948. Then we had the industrial policy resolution of 1956. So this policy, um, it is also known as the Economic Constitution of India. Remember this, and it classified into three sectors. One is Schedule A, which covers public sectors. 17 industries were there in the public sector. Then in Schedule B, it covered mixed sector, that is public and private, 12 industries. And Schedule C contained only private industries. Okay, so private industries like the Tatas, Birlas, and all those things, very few were there. And mixed sector means both mixed. 12 industries were there, and 17 industries were covered under public sector. So this has provisions for public sector, small scale industry, foreign investment. To meet new challenges from time to time, it was modified through statements in 1973, 1977, 1980. Okay, so these are industrial policy resolutions 1948, 1956, and in between you had three statements. Okay, 1973, 1977, and 1980 are industrial policy statements. Now, 1977, that means already more than 20 years, okay, around 2 decades after 1956, a new policy statement had come, and it's an extension of the old policy. The main was employment to the poor and reduction in the concentration of wealth. Okay, so what was happening is by the time there was a lot of concentration of wealth, very few people had most of the wealth. Okay, even today that is one of the issue, but back then it was very rampant. Most of the people were very poor, and only very few here and there rich business people had all the wealth of the nation. So this policy majorly focused on decentralization. It gave priority to small scale industries. It created a new unit called tiny unit, and the policy imposed restrictions on multinational companies. So, so if you just look at modern history, also you'll see that these companies like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, etc. Okay, initially they came, they opened some factories, then they were kicked out completely. Foreign investment was completely blocked, and again later on it was opened. And at last in 1991, okay, after in 1991, during that time when we had this balance of payment crisis and forex reserves were very low. Okay, at that time, PV Narasimha Rao was the prime minister and Dr. Manmohan Singh was the finance minister. They opened the economy. Okay, it was a very bold move because it will affect when the foreign investment comes, the local domestic players will be hugely affected, and it's a politically not very popular decision, but it had to be taken. It was taken, and now the kind of economy we see today is because of that liberalization, okay, privatization and globalization reforms of the 1991 era. So in this 1980, okay, it addressed the need for promoting competition in the domestic market, modernization, selective liberalization, and technological upgradation. And it liberalized the licensing and provided for the automatic expansion of capacity. So at that time, you had what is called as the license Raj. Today, if you want to open a factory, you can go to a bank, get a loan, and get a loan and open a factory. And if it is doing well, immediately you can go take money again and open a second factory. But back then, we had something called as the license Raj. That means if you want to open a new factory, if you're a private player, okay, if you're a private company and you want to open a new factory, you have to take license for that. Okay, you simply cannot do whatever you want. Okay, so that was called as the license Raj. And also there was this MRTP, very important, Monopolies, Restrictive and Trade Practices and Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973 were introduced. So these two were very damaging. Why? Because the monopolies, restrictive trade practices, and foreign exchange regulation. So that means it is regulating the how much amount of money is coming. So there won't be too much money. It's not very free for the businesses. Okay, and monopoly is restrictive. If there is any one company and it has become so successful that all the people are buying, for example, if you look at shaving kits, okay, Gillette is the major player for a significant amount of time. Like if anyone wants to buy shaving kit, they will buy Gillette. Okay, so back then, if under this regime, they wouldn't have allowed such a thing. They would have said that you are creating a monopoly, so they will place some restrictions. But today it is no longer like that. But even today we have what is called as the Competition Commission of India that looks after any monopolizing tendencies. Anyway, so all that happened in the 1980. So these two acts were introduced. These two acts were actually against free business sector. Okay, it was literally against the development of the industrial sector. But they did that so as to control. Okay, so to as to control the domestic interests. The objective was to liberalize the industrial sector to increase industrial productivity and competitiveness of the industrial sector. The policy laid the foundation for increasingly competitive export based and for encouraging foreign investment in high technology areas. Okay, so they wanted to encourage foreign investment in high technology areas, not everywhere. Not everywhere. Like they didn't want the kind of these shopping malls and all those things, large multinational companies. They didn't want in normal areas, supermarkets, etc. Because the local shops, local kirana shops and all will go out of business, right? So till 1991, the economy was completely restricted. Then in the 1991, as I saw, the LPG reforms. Okay, the new industrial policy 1991 had the main objective of providing facilities to market forces and increase efficiency. Larger roles were provided for liberalization, that is, reduction of government control, privatization, increase the role and scope of private sector, globalization, integration of Indian economy with the world economy. So, because of these LPG reforms, old domestic firms have to compete with the new domestic firms. Okay, so MNCs and imported items. So, because of this, the see, for example, back then BSNL had no competition. If you wanted to get a cell phone landline connection, you had to wait for 5 months, 6 months, 1 year. Okay, even if you want to have a connection, I mean, you are buying service from them, you had to wait for 5 months, 6 months. Later, when this economy was opened, you have all these foreign companies. Okay, Vodafone and all these things. But then they started providing services. Okay, and literally BSNL has gone out of business. And there was a time when BSNL was also competing with these multinational companies, right? But because it could not compete, slowly it is going out of business. But because of this LPG reforms, lot of efficiency has come into the market. So the government allowed domestic firms to import better technology to improve the efficiency and have access to better technology. FDI investment ceiling was increased from 40 to 51% in selected sectors. Okay, maximum FDI limit is 100% in selected sectors like infrastructure sectors. Foreign Investment Promotion Board was established, FIPB. Okay, it's a single window FDI clearance agency. Technology transfer agreement was allowed under the automatic route. Okay, so basically, what we are trying to do is we are trying to get technology transfer. So instead of importing goods from what you say, if you look at 1991, in the 1990s, most of the products which we saw were being imported, right? Nothing much was being produced in India. So at that point of time, the emphasis was to do technology transfer so that we can increase our production also. So phased manufacturing program was a condition for foreign firms. So basically, you are saying that to the foreign firms, slowly the objective is to that you have to come to India and open your business here. That is the purpose we are collaborating with you. Okay, to reduce the imports and use domestic inputs. Under the mandatory convertibility clause, while giving loans to firms, part of the loan can be converted to equity of a company. If the banks wants the loan in a specified time, this was also abolished. This mandatory convertibility clause was abolished, and this phased manufacturing program was also abolished. So all these things which are stopping the businesses from becoming better, they have been abolished. So industrial licensing was abolished except for 18 industries like these nuclear material, arms and ammunition, and all. Those except those things, industrial licensing was abolished. That means if you are if you are producing a chair or a table or anything, for such products, you don't need to take any license. If you have one industry, you can open two, three, four, as many as you like. So the MRTP Act, okay, under this MRTP Commission was established. MRTP, the Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act, was introduced to check monopolies, and it was relaxed in 1991. So, on the recommendations of the SPS Raghavan Committee, Competition Act 2000 was passed. Okay, so this is also very important. This Competition Act 2000 is replacing this MRTP. It is more liberal. Okay, And because of that, we have this Competition Commission of India. And remember this Raghavan Committee. So remember all these things. Now, what is the question? Industry are classified into three types. Three types as based on which industrial policy. So industrial policy resolution 1956. So if you look at 1956, you are classifying industry into three sectors: Schedule A, Schedule B, Schedule C. Right? So remember all these things. First, industries for category divided into four categories. Then you have three categories, three sectors. Okay, one which is only covers public sector, and one which is mixed sector, 12 industries. Public sector is 17 industries, and Schedule C only private industries. Fine. And then you have 1980 MRTP Act and all these things. In 1977, you had this tiny unit concept prior to small scale industries. Okay, 1991 complete LPG. Okay, LPG reforms, increasing FDI limits and all these things. So industry policy resolution 1956 is the right answer. Fine, which has three types, three sectors. Industrial policy divided into three sectors. So what are the main services provided by the IT industry? So IT industry is used for communication and technology services. Okay, engineering and business process outsourcing, BPOs and all these things. They use IT. Research and development of software products. Yes. So all the above are related to the IT industry. Okay, with common sense also we can say. So the maximum number of holdings in India. Okay, so so small holdings, fragmented holdings, uneconomic holdings. So you can say uneconomic holdings means those which if you look at it, most people have very small land. Okay, very small land holding. So it is only for self sufficiency, etc. Very few people have land in acres, okay, or hectares, lots of hectares. So agriculture, if you have lot of land, then maybe you will be able to buy more agriculture equipment and use it for more efficiency, etc. So most of the number of land holdings in India are uneconomic holdings. Basically, they are not very economically productive or efficient. Okay, that is one problem in India. Most of them are very small land holdings. So the MRTP Act was adopted by the government in the year 1969. So let us see. So we've seen MRTP Act somewhere here, right? So if you look at the MRTP Act, the monopolies and restrictive trade practices of 1969. Okay. Now this act was in 1969. We've seen in the industrial policy of uh, 19 what is this 1977 and all those things we've seen, right? Industry policy of 1948, 1956, and then we had the 1973 and 1977. So during that period we have seen this in the MRTP Act. Later it was repealed by the Competition Act of 2002. We have already seen this on the recommendation of Raghavan Committee. We have seen all this just now, right? So the Competition of Commission of India aims to establish a robust competitive environment. So with this Competition Act came the Competition Commission of India. So Competition Commission of India is a statutory body because it is established through an act. If it is in the constitution itself, like the Finance Commission, okay, Union Public Service Commission, then it is called a constitutional body. If it is due to some act, okay, then it is a statutory body. In this case, it is the Competition Act of 2002. Fine. So the Competition Act was passed in 2002 and has been amended by the Competition Amendment Act of 2007. So this Competition Act of 2002, there was one amendment in 2007. So this act prohibits anti-competitive agreements, abuse of dominant position by enterprises and regulates combinations. For example, if Geo say Geo wants to take over all the mobile companies, okay, so that it can give very tough competition to Airtel in such a way that it tries to literally wipe out Airtel, okay, or pricing it very low so that the competitors will not stand a chance. So all these anti-competitive agreements, it will go through the scrutiny of the Competition Commission of India, okay, and if it finds that any such thing is happening, then a fine will be a decision will be taken accordingly. Okay. So a competition appellate tribunal also has been established. So if there are any grievances, then it will go to the competition appellate tribunal. Government replaced competition appellate tribunal with the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal in 2017. So just like how the MRTP Act was replaced by the Competition Act, this Competition Appellate Tribunal was replaced with the NCLAT in 2017. This National Company Law Appellate Tribunal in 2017. So all these are very important points about the MRTP Act. Anyway, we have seen that the Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act was adopted by the government in 1969. Okay, in 1969, MRTP Act was came. It has, and this is along with that you have this Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. Okay, that Foreign Exchange Regulation Act has been replaced by the FEMA. Okay, FERA has been replaced with FEMA. That is the Foreign Exchange Management Act. Instead of regulation, now you are using the word management. Okay, so these two are considered usually as draconian laws, which are hindering the growth of the businesses. So it was later replaced by the Competition Commission of India. So, with reference to the India, consider the following: bank rate, open market operations, public debt, and public revenue. Which of the following is the components of monetary policy? So, as I already said, the fiscal policy is given by the government Ministry of Finance, right? Fiscal policy contains expenditure, revenue, all those things, deficits, all those things are part of fiscal policy. Now, monetary policy is dealing with the repo rate, reverse repo rate, bank rate, CRR, SLR, and all these things. So basically, how much money you want to keep in the market, how much money you want to keep with the RBI, and all those things. So, so which of the following are monetary policy? So bank rate is part of the monetary policy, right? So by moving the bank rate, if you increase the bank rate, then there will be less money for the public. Okay, so using the bank rate, you can adjust the money in the uh, country. Okay, so that is a monetary policy. Open market or operations. This is open. So, for example, if bank has to maintain CRR, right, 4.5, 6.5. So, if it doesn't have sufficient money, it can go to the open market and buy. For example, if it is short of 100 crores, then it will go to the open market operations and take that 100 crores, because every on a regular basis, the banks have to maintain the SLR, CRR, and all those things. So those are open market operations which are taken up by these banking entities to maintain their what is these ratios and all. So these two are clearly components of monetary policy. Public debt is part of fiscal policy. Public revenue is part of fiscal policy. It is not monetary policy. So only A and B. Okay. So when was the disinvestment started in public enterprises? So disinvestment is also very important topic. Okay, frequently asked in so most exams, disinvestment is also very frequently asked. Okay, so what is disinvestment? So disinvestment process involves sale of government stake in public sector enterprises to strategic or financial buyers, either through the sale of shares on stock exchange or through sale of shares directly to the buyers. So just like say for example BSNL, okay, BSNL is not making profits. Government is unnecessarily spending so much money. So it can disinvest it. That is sell some of the stake in that public sector enterprise to strategic financial buyers. Okay, that is disinvestment. Basically selling off what is not, because they say it is not the business of the government to be in business. Okay, let the business be taken care by the corporates. So what is the use of government doing business? Government is more for regulation, policy making, and etc. So with that idea, this investment has been taken. For the past decade, you can see a lot of disinvestment activities taking place. So in the Union Budget 23-24, government has set a disinvestment target of 51,000 crore, which is down nearly from 21% from the budget estimate of the current year and just 1,000 crore more than the revised estimate. Okay. So it is also the lowest target in the 7 years. So basically, you can see that lot of disinvestment has happened in the past 10 years. Okay, so it is literally lowest in the 7 years, the 51,000 crore. That means they are trying to sell public sector companies and earn 51,000 crore. That is the target in the current budget. So this figure is also very important. Remember it. In India, the disinvestment process is conducted by the Department of Investment and Public Asset Management. That is the DPAM, which comes under the Ministry of Finance. Okay, remember that disinvestment is by Department of Investment and Public Asset Management. DPAM, this is also very important. And the primary objective of DPAM is to manage the government's investments in public sector enterprises and to oversee the disinvestment of government's equity in these enterprises. Okay, basically this entity looks after how to sell the public companies and make money out of it. Okay, so the government had constituted the National Investment Fund in 2005, into which the proceeds from disinvestment of central public sector enterprises were to be channelized. So if they sell the stake in the BSNL, okay, where will that money go? That money will go into the National Investment Fund. Okay, okay, this was constituted in 2005. So that money will be used for more creating more infrastructure for the public or etc. Some important. Okay, so this investment is very important. So you can see budget 2023-24 has set a target of 51,000 crore. Okay, which is almost down. So you can see this. These are the trends. Okay, so slowly. So the budget estimates against the actual realization of proceeds. So see, in 20 this 1920 they have targeted this much, but only they were able to do this much. This is during the period of corona, right? So they had a very huge target of 2 lakh crore. Okay, 2 lakh crore, but the actual is very less. Okay, very less. So they see, observe these trends. So it was as high as 2 lakh crore. It came down to almost 1.6, 1.7. So because they realized that they are not able to reach these targets, they have reduced the targets, okay, to 51,000. In this is 20 to 23, slightly more than that, and currently it is 51,000 crore. So try to remember that. And you see, most of it has come from selling LIC. Okay, remember this. Most, see, very huge amount, 20,000 crore has come from selling the stake in LIC, ONGC, IRCTC. See, even IRCTC has been privatized, right? GAIL, PPL, ONGC, etc. Okay, so remember this. So LIC has the high share. Okay, and these are what is some of the statistics. See, from here you can say in 2017-18 they had 1 lakh. Okay, 2017-18, see, they have reached 1 lakh. Actually, the target was less, but they were able to achieve more. Okay, so by studying this graph, you can get the estimates. So initially it was near 50,000, like that. Slowly it went to 2 lakhs. Then again, now they have reduced it to 50,000. Okay, because they are not able to do it successfully, there is not going to add any new companies in the new list. Okay, so what are the current companies that are in trending? IDBI Bank, Shipping Corporation of India, Container Corporation of India, NMDC Steel, okay, HLL, Life Care, and all these things, BPCL, etc., etc. So these BPCL, SCI, Concord, they have been approved by the government, but have not gone through yet proper. Okay, so this investment is very important. So when was this disinvestment started in public enterprises? In 91-92. Okay, after the economy has been opened, the disinvestment has also started. So look at some of these questions. Development is synonymous with economic growth. Okay, so how can you say that a country is getting developed when the economic growth is happening? So it is synonymous with economic growth, which is fine. So which of the following must always balance in the foreign trade of the country? So balance of payment, balance of trade, balance of current account, and all these things are very important. Let us see if we, okay. So this what is this balance of trade, balance of payment, current account, capital account, and all these things are very important topics. So let us stop for today, and then the next session let us try to complete the remaining questions, and let us go in depth about all this balance of payment and everything. Okay, let's stop for today.